Good morning, world, and welcome to Gangneung, Republic of Korea. We've dipped our toes into November month, but the weather has been warm and the beaches still remind you of summer. The Olympic hustle and bustle is gone, but the flame still burns here, and especially so in the Gangneung Curling Centre, host to this year's Pacific Asia Curling Championships. My name is Sander Ulvåg, and I'm joined by curling expert and Olympian Anne Swisshelm. Good morning.
Good morning, Sander.
For this morning's draw in the women's competition, we have Korea taking on Australia. Teams just lining up for their introduction in the arena here. And we'll meet the teams before we get going. For Korea, at lead, Kim Soo-jin. At second, Yang Tae. Playing the third stones for Korea, Kim Hye-rin. And Team Korea is skipped by Kim Min-ji. For Australia this morning at lead, we have Kirby Gill. Lynette Jill throwing the second stones. At third, we have Laurie Whedon. And Team Australia is skipped by Tally Jill. Just about to get underway here as we take a look at the standings in the women's competition. China, Hong Kong, Japan all at 1 win and no losses. Kazakhstan will be playing their first game this morning. Australia, Korea and Qatar still to pick up a win, but lots of games still to be played, and those are the games to be played this morning. Japan will play Kazakhstan, Qatar will play China. We'll keep you updated on those games, but our main focus will be on Korea, Australia, as they look to pick up their first win here. So Korea outdrawing Australia in the pre-game practice, and the draw shot challenge means they'll have the last stone advantage. Australia will throw the first stone, and they will be throwing the yellow. Korea will throw the reds.
How long do we have to wait till the rock resets? Can you watch the time go? Okay.
Just waiting for the cue from the umpire to get us started here. And we're off. Kirby Gill, 17 years old. She will throw the in-turn draw. We've enjoyed some really good ice conditions so far this week. Lots of curl. You'll see that big finish at the end. This stone will find its way into the 8-foot. And the question now for Korea is, will they throw that corner guard, get things started, or will they run a few stones down this morning to wake up? Looks to be the open hit from Kim Soo-jin. Is this a normal approach, you think, Anne Swisshelm, for a morning game?
I think this is a very normal approach for this young Korean team. They had the disappointing loss in the opening draw and really are just looking to keep control of the opening rocks, settle in here, get comfortable with this ice surface. And they do have the last rock advantage, but they're clearly exhibiting a more patient attack here in this with the opening stones.
When you look at the teams on paper, you think maybe Korea are favorites coming into this game. And if you feel that yourself as a team, I feel like there's maybe two approaches to go. Either you play very simple and think percentage, we're going to make more shots than the opponent, or you play real aggressive and put pressure on your opponent.
Yeah, and I think, you know, we just saw the Australian team hit and roll out. They didn't get a full execution there, and now is the opportunity for Korea to turn on the offense, put up a guard. And I like this approach. It's a simple way to set up your game. And it's going to be a team sweep to even get this one into play. And it is just over. little unconventionally high in the field of play there. But that might be why they're being a little simple tactically at these opening rocks.
It's a cautious aggression so far from Korea as we take a look at Lynette Jill.
Is it here?
Yeah, go ahead.
No line, no line. These two cows.
Just looking to draw the open house here. Not feeling too threatened by that long corner guard.
Yep, 6. Yep, gotta go. All the way. Yes, the line, yes, the line. Right here, Kirby. All the way. Good shot, Lynn. Good shot, Lynn.
And the key for Australia here in this game is going to be just settling in, much the same as the Korean women. They will get a look at Yang Tae, their second, and they're going to try and hit and roll here. So they go away from the corner guard, which is fine. Go out into the wings, test this Australian team. So as I said, they need to settle in, keep the pressure simple for themselves. This is a new environment for the Australian team. It's their first time at the Pacific Championship in this format. And both these teams looking for the first win is going to add a little bit of pressure. And this may be the first TV game for this Australian women's team.
That's right, good shot.
And they make contact. They roll out again.
Good judging. Good thing you're calling the weights there.
Now we're going to see if, as the rules of play pop up, we're playing a 5-stone free guard zone rule. And we'll play 6 ends minimum. It's 10 ends scheduled, 38 minutes of thinking time. And each team gets a single timeout.
How much does the game change with the 5-rock rule?
Well, I think statistically, we don't have much history as it's a brand new rule this season. And but what we know from the play of the Grand Slams the last several years is that teams have the ability to score 3 with a little bit more regularity, and so you're able to come back from a deficit. The power of the hammer becomes even a little bit more with that extra rock. It's the average scoring goes up. So there are some changes, but we don't have a huge history of how it's impacting the game.
Laurie Whedon, the 3rd stones for Australia. Chasing this red stone that's just slightly tucked in behind the corner guard. Just staying a bit wide, and that's going to go past everything.
And those are the kind of shots that Australia cannot afford to have. This young Korean team knocked off, you know, they were a giant killer to set themselves up for this event. And they have a ton of talent. And this is a really wise call. Drawing to the open side. The goal for the end was to take 2. Setting up their 2 right here.
Kim Hye-rin just drawn to the open wing, just 18 years old. Did beat the silver medal winning team from the Olympic Games, skipped by Kim Eun-jung, to get to the Pacific Asia Championships. So even though they're quite young, we know they're still already at high caliber.
Wait. Did you want to come the other way?
Okay.
No, do you?
Yes.
Looking for that to be a little bit deeper, Team Korea, maybe?
Yeah, no, this is an overcall by the player in the hack. Throwing here. Remember, Team Australia had seen their second, Lynette Gill, play that line inside out. So this is a bit of an experimental shot.
Right off. That's cleaning.
They haven't seen that outside in line. They do manage it well. But I think that was a little unnecessary risk, as it were, down that path.
They do make the hit and stick. And that is what Kim Heron is looking to do with her second stone here. Trying to sweep that for some extra curl, just a bit wide on the brush, and that rolls out. So second chance for Australia to get to this red stone.
Just your normal. Just control. Maybe a little bit more.
Now down to skip rocks, and we'll see that switch. Vice skip goes up, and we'll hold that brush. Skip comes down to throw. You can see it's at least half open here, so definitely possible to get to. But the ice is a bit weight sensitive. Can't overthrow them. They'll run fairly straight. Callie Jill, 19-year-old skip. Just really needs to pass this guard.
And this is going hard.
And that is a very good shot.
Great sweeping from the front end. The mother-sister combo on the brushes there.
You can see the bend here comes very close to the guard. Now this stone is half buried, still makes the break and actually overrolls and pops out the other side. Still maybe a piece hidden.
Yeah,
hard
maybe
to get to.
Just a little bit hidden over there. But the South Korean team here will draw one underneath. It's a great opportunity on a skip's first stone.
Kim Min-ji with the draw here. They did play the corner guard coming this way, so the sweeper should have a decent sense of how it's running down this path, giving that information to the skip for this throw, and they've seemed to be pretty spot on with the weight here.
That's a beautiful shot. Absolutely, completely buried above the tee line.
Oh yeah, of course. If it's a bit heavy and okay, that's fine. So, what kind? You're gonna just do T-line? Heavy drill?
Yeah, T-line. Even like sitting there is fun too.
Okay, it's fine. All right. So, what do you like about?
Yeah.
Here?
There. Yeah.
Okay. Take a breath before you throw.
If it's heavy, sleep it through.
Kim Min-ji has shown the path here for the draw.
Yeah. Okay.
Just T weight.
So you're probably looking at like a 3.
Of course, players do throw them differently, so it's knowing if you curl a bit less or more than your opponent might not be that easy to gauge all the time, but always have a close look, and for the sweepers maybe have clocked that draw from Korea to get a better sense of the weight coming down this line. We'll see the hog-to-hog stopwatch. Sweepers are on it early.
Take a look, please.
13-5.
Yeah, that might be a little hot.
And it is a bit hot. And that is just going to tickle that red and slip a bit too far. Sweepers just a little bit too eager.
Yeah, just they buried their head. Swept the whole way down the sheet, even though they were getting lots of advice to take a look. And it's hard, though, as a sweeper. Once you think that a rock might need it, and you end up over-sweeping a shot, you've got to take that, you got to learn from that, and be able to adjust the amount of power and pressure that you use the next time. Kim Min-ji with the last stone of this first end. She might have had a bit of an adrenaline surge. They're asking for backing. And it's really got a ton of weight on this stone. And just with that adrenaline surge, ends up with a miss and is held to a single point.
So that is 1-0 for Korea after one end of play, but we have lots more.
Good. Great first shots. Good shots.
Okay, so what's our
Same shot, just keep.
Second end underway here. It's Korea, Australia. Playing on Sheet C this morning in the Gangneung Curling Center. Korea with a great chance to score 2 early on, but Kim Min-ji just coming up a little heavy on her attempt for 2. So now it's Australia with last on advantage, looking to set something up.
Good shot. Nice shot, Curry.
Just drawing the wing here though.
Yeah, the tactical choice there, I'm not quite sure what Australia is hoping to generate with that shot. They do have last rock advantage. Let's see if they make an adjustment here. The young skip, Tali Gill. She is going to put another one in.
I believe that is an approach we sometimes see from teams if they want to keep things quite open and maybe blank and then a very defensive approach. I think that's a game plan for Australia, just to keep things as tight as possible.
Yeah, I mean, I would recommend that to them, this being a new environment for this team.
Can we split? Can we split it? Take it? Yes, for the take. Whoa! Yep! Yep! Yep, 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 yep. Yep, all the way, bring it to
It's
here.
a slight redirect off of the guard.
As far as you can.
Ends up on the wing.
Good call, Laurie.
It's nice to see the Australian team communicating so well. They really are communicating up and down the sheet. That's going to help them make a lot of shots out here. So they want to hit this one right on the nose. Keep out in the wing. Lynette Gill with the over curl there and misses the object rock.
Wait, wasn't too bad. Yeah, it was actually all right. Just went out.
That's the kind of mistakes we saw a few too many times when they were playing Japan in their first game.
Okay.
Just maybe not quite getting to grips with the ice. Obviously, there's a lot more swing here than you might get at certain curling clubs or even at the multi-purpose ice venues.
Yeah, the championship conditions here with the ice, they are extraordinary. It's fast, it curls a lot, both directions. And now this is a great opportunity for the Koreans to use that beautifully placed center guard. And it actually over curls a bit, but great weight.
We'll jump on over to sheet A, and Japan is playing Kazakhstan. It's Japan with last stone here. Seeming like Kazakhstan's got short stone, and I wonder if Fujisawa might be chasing it. It's a bold call here. Come after that yellow stone, tucked in around everything. Just over curls though, clicks their own red, and that's going to go past the yellow. And that's a steal of 1 for Kazakhstan. Could have been a huge score for Japan, but it's 1-0 for the Kazakhs through one end of play.
Yeah, and on our feature sheet, we did not rewind the tape. That is the second miss in the exact same spot. And a tough one for Lynette Gill. So there's opportunity for Korea to take full command of the scoring area. They'd like this rock to curl a little bit more. Freeze right on their own stone in the top of the button. Beautifully done.
Lee Sung-jun is coach for Team Korea. He's probably quite content so far. Australia not really able to put too much pressure on Korea so far in the game. Didn't quite finish as much as they were thinking there, Korea. I wonder if that left-hand side of the sheet is running just a tad straighter than the other.
Yeah, just a hair straighter, which the come around from the other side on the previous stone, that over curled. You know, they could have played that same direction, but it's a good time to learn the ice. It's the second end. First time they've played this direction. And now we'll see if they can make the adjustment on this next shot with the rollout.
Ken McDonald is coaching Team Australia. That's I'm sure they have lots to learn from this week. It's going to be a good step in the right direction for sure, and it's all about doing the analysis of the games and maybe trying to figure out what to improve.
Yeah, and it's still tough for Australia. They don't have dedicated ice as you know, as the Koreans do. Makes it really hard to train at a high level. And when you're playing one of the most technically proficient groups of athlete in the world, Koreans, it's you can see they've got a master setup going here in the second end. Some of the things we were seeing there is some technical choices here from the sweepers. We had pretty much the wrong sweeper next to the rock on that last shot. And if you subscribe to the scratch theory of sweeping and how ice moves, potentially the Aussies made that rock curl a little bit more instead of trying to hold it straighter. And they wrecked on the center guard and left their shooter up there.
Not a bad setup left for skip Kim Min-ji.
I think this is pretty much the dream setup as a skip. What do you need to throw? A guard. Your players have put the rocks in such a good position that all you need to do is protect them. That's pretty good rock placement there.
And then the thinking for Australia, it's becoming a bit too late to bail out here, so they're going to change it up and maybe bring the stone into the house.
Yeah, and actually the way we've seen the rocks finish on this side, the curl at the end, they could tuck right around.
Okay.
They'd have to sit behind the tee line to be fully buried, but it is possible.
Might even be able to come around and bump up that shot stone.
Weights up, I think.
Leave a bit more room for the next one.
Yeah, that is definitely available.
8, 9. It's in. 8, 9.
Calling this just a little bit heavy. We'll see if they have the line to get to that shot stone. So far, it is hanging a bit wide, urging this to move over. But it's just a bit too much weight.
Yeah, that's almost all the way to the hack, actually.
Not doing them too much good. Would be better off clicking the guard there, at least opening things up a little bit. And a chance for Korea to really choke off every path to the button for a score here.
Yeah, and the precision communication. It's okay short of the rings. It's okay full 12. Any deeper than that, they set up a hitting situation, a double maybe for one. But great communication from the Korean team.
So this is where you're placing the broom a bit wider than that center guard. You might be asking your sweepers, what do you think? Is it going to run the same here, or do you think it might be a tad slower? A lot of communication all the time about curl and the speed of the ice. And of course, as soon as that stone's released, there is no lack of communication either for the Korean team.
Yeah, they take nothing for granted. It's full communication. There is never any radio silence. They make a lot of shots because of that.
This one does slip a bit too deep, and that allows an out for Australia. Wasn't sweeping too much there, but certainly could have left it alone.
Yeah, I think because you've got them.
This is the last shot.
Yeah.
If the shot stops a few feet shorter, there's not much left for Australia, but now certainly they can come off that red.
Okay, yeah, try that.
You're just throwing it, but it's up to you what you feel comfortable with. What do you like?
Is there a draw line there? I think that.
Yeah.
Like if she's
Yeah, that sounds good, because if it's a little bit heavy, you can bounce off that.
If it's a bit heavy, she taps that out
Cut it down
anyway.
to one,
and sits in
or
there.
if you come in, you've got 4 foot.
Yeah,
so
like
your
nicks
goal
it
is the
and-
4 foot.
And then just goes
Okay.
in.
Yep.
So
Yep.
I
So
gave
it's a
you
draw. Yeah,
here.
so 296
Do you like
is way
that?
too
Yep,
heavy for
I'll
today,
do lighter
so
weight.
we're looking
Okay.
for a 3.
Two options.
It's more like 312.
You might be able to make the cool draw in behind, or between the reds rather. Or you can play the thin double. Do you have a preference on?
No, I think this is really up to your skip. Although,
But
you
I
know,
will do lighter weight.
if you hit on the inside, you
3-5.
hold them to 1, and
Just stay with it though, it does tend to slow
But
down.
this is how she wants to score. You gotta love a skip who says, I'll make that draw.
Line's good. Right there.
Thinking you make the play the softer weight, there's a bigger chance your shooter will stay in the rings for sure and cut them down.
Have a look.
Weights up. Whoa.
Yeah, and now,
We need to curl.
you know,
We need to curl. Yeah, hard, 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 hard. Whoa. Oh, yeah.
Full heavy might come off that red. And it will be
Nice shot, Tally.
to hold them to 1 here, Korea, and that's vastly improving the situation for Australia. But it will be a point for the Koreans, so after 2 ends of play, it is 2-0 for Korea.
No, that was it.
Okay, that was good.
약해 보인다 해가지고 애들을 뭐 먹는 거 딱 찼을 때 내가 차고 딱 맞아 아니 약한 느낌이긴 했어 몇 나온 거야? 3만 근데 릴리즈가 이렇게 할 거면 더 줄여야 될 것 같아
Third end underway here. It's a 2-0 game for Korea.
So we're getting about a 3 for that?
Australia still with a fighting chance here. Haven't been able to set up too much, but they're not too far behind here with 8 ends to go.
yeah, it is very early in this game.
Last weight.
Where is it? Weights up.
The Aussie team needs to
Just here.
Top 8.
Whoa.
eliminate those wide open misses that we saw in that second end.
Yes, the line.
But their skip, Tally Gill, came up pretty big for them with her last rock to hold the Korean team to a single point.
12 foot's good too.
Okay, good job. Nice.
Still drawing
Good
to
shot.
the wing here.
Good judge, thanks.
It's not going to generate too many points.
Yeah, this tactic did not work for them the last end. So I'm surprised to see them employing it another time.
Might work in your odd club curling game, but I don't think you'll see the Korean team miss an open hit very often.
No, this team is very proficient and they execute at a very high level. So what you want to do for Australia is you want to up the level of difficulty your opponent's facing. And
What, wait, normal? Normal.
Normal.
Okay, so normal.
Line's good. Whoa, needs to go. Yep. Gotta go. Really hard. Gotta go. All the way.
Really hard, guys.
All the way, Laurie. All the way.
Really hard, really hard.
Well.
Good shot.
and a nice hit and stick out there.
We'll jump on over to sheet A. Japan playing Kazakhstan. Did see Fujisawa have a chance for a big score in the first and couldn't quite pull off the shot. But now a second chance at a bundle. Sweeper's looking pretty happy with this one. As it's making its way into the house, you can start counting really. And it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and it's 6. A 6-ender for Japan. And that is going to put them in the right direction for that game. 6-1 so far, but still a long way to go. And on our sheet still. I'd say Korea quite disciplined, and sometimes you might be tempted to play a little more aggressive and put a little more pressure on your opponent when they're playing so defensively, but they're quite happy to keep playing this way. And look at that, what a great roll.
Yeah, she should be happy. Remember, she had the 2 misses the last end. Comes up big with her first rock here in the third. Lynette Gill gets the beautiful hit and roll absolutely buried behind that center guard.
Could not place that rock any better.
Now that's the kind of up the level of difficulty I was talking about. Just force the Korean team to make more precise shots, to really focus on their rock placement. And not a problem. Walk that down, set that right on top of the Aussie Yellowstone.
So what?
Draw.
You like that? Freeze to it.
Okay.
Okay.
Top 8's good too.
Okay. Yes. Yes. Yes.
Waist down. Force.
All the way.
Lots of room. You got lots of room.
Waist down.
It needs to curl.
Waist
It
down.
needs to curl. It needs to curl. Yep. Yep. Whoa. Let it curl. Let it curl. Whoa. It needs to curl. Just right here, guys. Whoa. Good shot. Shot, Lynn.
That's a nice shot. Now it's completely guarded. And the Aussie Stones have a good command of the angles.
오케이. 디플랜 안 줘. 길.
Team Korea looking to run back that guard.
옆에. 야! 계속 와. 그만 와.
넣어야 돼.
계속 와야 돼. 그만 와야 돼.
And they remove one of the stones.
잘했어. 괜찮아.
진짜. 알지? 안쪽으로 들어오는 거 가운데 맞은 거 같아.
Yay.
So Team Australia is going to look to put another one back into the 4-foot. It's a tough rock positioning situation for them. There's not a ton of space.
Lots of room.
Back house.
Lots of
Back
room.
house. Leaning.
Lots of room.
Lots. Lots of weight. Back house.
Whoa.
Back through.
Whoa.
I think it's through.
Whoa. That's right.
It's okay. That's okay. God, Lynn's scared.
No way. Following us. It's your best friend.
So that one goes all the way through. Korea will play another run back here. Red onto red, onto red, onto yellow. Sounds simple enough.
You just have to have the perfect angles for 4 stones.
Sounds pretty close here. What do we get? We do get exactly that.
Beautiful shot.
That yellow flies. So does 2 reds, but that is a very good shot.
Yeah, taking full advantage of having seen the last run back, knowing how to throw it, how to call it, and how to make it beautifully.
thought it was going to go. Thanks, guys. Oops, sorry. Good shot. Better.
무말로 A는 일단 갈게. 경관이 괜찮아.
So the Korean vice skip has the target set. It's a hit on the wing for Kim Min-ji. They mentioned that it's okay to roll. I think I'd like to keep it out there if I was the Korean team. But because if you roll behind the tee line. And if Australia holds true to form, they're going to be defensive and hit this stone and hang out there. Yep.
Let's take a look at Sheet B and Qatar playing China. China up by 8-0. So really important here to get a score on the board for Qatar. Looking to pierce the hole. Not able to do so. Gets 1 yellow though. Still a steal of 2 for the Chinese. Should be a 10-0 game through 3 ends. Qatar still quite new to the sport, but they're fast learners. And it's great to see all these new nations making their way into the Pacific Asia Curling Championships.
Well, the growth of the game globally is just amazing right now, what we're seeing. The number of new clubs coming online, countries joining the World Curling Federation. Bodes well for the future of this sport.
Really wonder how it's going to look in 20 years.
It's, I think, dramatically different than the current dominant nations. It's going to get a much stronger depth of field throughout the world. We've seen the growth of the sport here in the Pacific Asia zone. Lots of Olympic medals now coming from this area.
I think a lot of effort's been put into the teams, especially from Korea, considering they hosted the Olympics this year, but also China, as they're hosting the Olympics in 4 years. So those two nations will, as long as they keep putting up the funding for it, they will be quite dominant in the future, you'd think.
And let's go back to the start of the sport, the history of being an Olympic sport started in 1998 in Japan. So Japan made the choice of making it a full medal sport. You know, it finally came to fruition at the Olympics this year for the Japanese women getting on the podium. So there's tons of strength here. And Min-ji Kim, she just demonstrated some of that strength, put that rock right in the rings. They would have liked that to have curled a little bit more.
Same weight, guys. Same weight. Okay.
But again, they're going to force. Okay, we're hearing from the skip herself. She's okay if it blanks, but they're also okay taking one.
Taking one is far better than giving up one, that's for sure. If you're going to have a tolerance.
Yes.
The last stone here, third end, the blank attempt. Looking to retain the last stone advantage here.
Yeah, and she just popped that a little wide off her hand, but it's close.
Starting to make a move here, and that is going to make contact, and we'll sit right there. So maybe quite happy just to score one here. Keeping the game close. It's a 2-1 advantage for Korea after 3 ends of play here in the Gangneung Curling Center.
I think you best still keep it clean, so come out to the wing.
Same as what we were doing when they were putting up a centre guard, just come out to the wing. Anything, if they hit and roll, great, we just hit and roll as well.
Yep.
Keep everything, oh, hang on.
Wait, Line's good.
Yeah.
T.
Just here.
T.
Oh,
Back in, back 4.
Back 9.
Lots of
We're
room.
deep.
Nine,
We're deep.
yeah, deep.
Okay, well,
Possibly through.
First stone of the fourth end is
I think
coming down the street here. A little bit hot though.
Go
And
get
with
a
some
drink.
help from Kim Min-ji, that will pass through the rings.
Oh, sorry. It's okay. Oh, I wanted you to go.
So an early mistake from Australia, as they scored one in that third end, so it's a pretty close game so far. I feel like Korea is in control, but they haven't really taken full advantage yet.
No, they were pretty cautious in their opening end. We talked about that. It still came up with an opportunity to score 2 points in a fairly simple manner. They just had a little bit of a mistake on their skip's last stone. And now there's going to be no delay with throwing the corner guard. Again, this stone comes up very high for Sunjin Kim. I think they'd like that stone to be 6 or 7 feet deeper into the field of play. But they were able to use it in the first end, and they'll try and use it again here in the fourth. And we get a look at Kirby Gill. Her shooting percentages throughout the tournament at 79%. So the shot call was to be in the rings, but I love where this one landed. A nice center guard. This is that is the only way for Australia to cause some pressure. I know they want to keep it simple, but they also are going to need to find a way to generate some points throughout this game. They want to win it.
Kim Soo-jin will look to come around that center guard. Not allowed to remove it as it sits in the free guard zone for now. Needs to be in front of the tee line.
Yeah, they don't want that to slip behind. And it just goes to the backside of the tee line.
Yeah, a great opportunity for Australia to perhaps follow that rock down.
Yeah, she did call for backline weight to tap it. So that might be a tad early to move it. As you know, I'm a big fan of having a back guard, as well as...
Back, 9, through,
And
9, 8.
the rock is slightly overburied, so
Yeah.
hard to
Yeah.
get to this with too much weight. I feel like the
Sorry, guys.
draw could be a little easier, leave you with a few more options. So often when you think tapping, you add a little extra weight, and sometimes too much, and that's happened here as well.
Yeah, and the okay way to put that stone into the field of play was to play it a little bit late, actually, and just a regular old draw. Nothing more fancy or more complicated than that.
That would create a lot more nuisance for Korea, even if that stops short of that red stone in the top of the house somewhere. Now it's just an open highway to get in there and sit to.
Yeah. This stone, a little light, and it's starting to over curl.
So Australia will have a second chance.
Yeah, so now we get to see if the adjustment can be made. Oh, no, we've switched the weight call to the straight draw. Great learning there by the young skip from Australia. Making the tactical adjustment right in between shots. The sweepers are working so hard on this. It is. They're trying to drag it as far as they can. This looks pretty light.
Gotta go, bring it up to 12 foot, bring it up all the way. All the way, Kirby, sweep.
A bit of an over adjustment there.
That's fine.
As we'll just jump on over to Japan, Kazakhstan. Less stones in play in this third end. It will be an open hit to score one. Team Kazakhstan. Chitora Haliyarova looking for the hit and stick, and that is made. Great shot there. And that is a single point for Kazakhstan, but Japan still leads it 6-2. Back in our sheet, Korea still with some mistakes and over adjustment here as well from the Koreans. Came up short with the first one, and this one deep.
Yeah, that's a tough overcorrection. And, you know, it looks like going to be the first person to execute this draw here with all those guards. It's going to be potentially a winning shot in this end.
Laurie Whedon now has the chance. Still tight on the broom. Now room though.
Wait, looks close.
Yeah, looking pretty good here. A little bit of tapping weight here. Just gonna rub off.
Sorry, are you saying whoa or? Okay,
Slight miscommunication from the Australians there.
sorry, I couldn't hear her.
Came fairly close to the guard, but could have left that just a bit longer.
Yeah, I think once the weight was up, once they knew it was back four, they had to be as tight as possible to that center guard.
So still looking for that perfect draw, top four.
Apparently this is a really tough spot in the ice. And this one's hanging wide. Starting to get the bend now. There it goes. And Tae Yang helping it a little bit with that outside sweep.
Taking about the same ice as Australia, but you feel that the Koreans are a little bit more tough on the release, a little more in out, and they're not quite getting the same curl. So
yeah, and if you notice the number of rotations the Rocks have coming down the ice, you'll notice the Koreans have a little bit more rotation, which holds the Rocks straighter. It makes the break point a little bit later in the curl.
it's another great chance for Australia if they can ever just freeze right in the pocket of the Reds. Even just old rub and roll.
Yeah,
Needs to come close to the guard though.
they got to get past this guard.
It's diving. It's actually too close.
Good sweeping, guys.
And will wreck on the guard. Just spins the shooter in to the 12-foot.
Oh, just a massive opportunity there missed by the Australian team. With those half-checked guards and a pocket to come down into, they could have tied this game up, and now all of a sudden, the Korean team with a well-placed stone here could set themselves up for a very crooked number on the scoreboard.
A little tighter line this time.
Yeah, the guards were moved, so we had a little bit of an opening.
Yeah, it's better.
Yeah, there's still a chance for Australia.
Yeah, the pin is covered now, but
Yeah.
Australia can come down onto that stone just played by Korea. Tap it back a bit. Should be lying at least second shot in there.
Yeah. I think we just heavy draw on this one and push it back a little.
Okay.
Because we want it to stick around.
All right.
All right.
I would just do, are you doing heavy draw or draw?
Just heavy draw.
I think draw is good. Just make sure it's here. Your tolerance is here.
I think maybe less ice because it's got backing.
Okay. There?
Yep. Where do we need it, Charlie? I just want them to stick around in case they hit us out.
Okay.
Because even if we sit on theirs, we've got something.
So
and
are
we
they
can tap it
behind
back.
T?
No, but we're going to tap it back,
Back
a
a
little.
bit? Okay.
But
losing time.
So it's a heavy draw, right?
Yep.
An opportunity to
Line's good.
push the momentum back to Team Australia here.
Nine.
Nine.
Nine. No,
Nine.
no, 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 no. Not yet. Stay close. Stay close. It's coming.
Yep.
Nope. Yep. Hard, 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 hard. Just to get by. Just to get by. Hard, 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 hard. Good job. Well done, guys. Nice job.
That is a beautiful shot there.
Absolutely great shot. I'm not sure if she shot, but
I think it might be red, but I don't think you could do a
Nice shot,
whole lot
and the
more
weight
than
was
that.
good.
no.
That is tough to get out for Korea.
Oh, that was good. What did you like about that?
If you ever hit that yellow, the question is, does it just jam on the red on the right, or does it bounce and go up and out?
I think it might go up and out, but even if it does, that should open up
그냥 필은 여기 그냥 필은.
the forefoot for Team Australia to come back down right into it.
그치? 그러고 나서 얘는 그냥 최대한 당겨줘야 될 것 같은데.
시든 얇게 올려.
이거 아마 너가 닦아줘야 될 것 같아.
쓸 수도 있을 것 같아.
7번
일단 올라갈 수도 있으니까.
Stones are quite lively, the houses are quite keen, you do get a lot of
그냥
action.
이거 같이
The
막고.
question just,
더 이렇게 가자.
how much of that red will the yellow hit?
근데 지금 딱 붙어 있어서 어딜 맞든 힘만 있으면 비슷하게 나갈 것 같아.
어느 정도 얇은 거만 좀 두꺼워야 힘이 있을 것 같긴 해.
There's no doubt they're going to make a play on it here, at least
Yeah.
rattle things around and open up the forefoot.
나 그냥 보이는 만큼 날려.
Pointing to the head.
빨리 잠깐 치워봐.
That means a lot of weight is coming. She's going to throw a very powerful shot, lots of momentum behind the stone. It'll be at about
거기까지 보여.
7.5 seconds from hog to hog.
Usually the higher the hand goes on the body, the more weight you're throwing.
Yeah. And you'll see how smooth she is. All the power right behind the rock. She did flip that out a little bit. You saw her hand kind of fly off the handle. They're trying to make this curl.
That was an interesting way to do it. Just ticks it neatly to the right of our screen.
Yeah, that was not her plan. She just was a little wide at release.
너무 뻗었지.
Korea now shot stone though.
So I'm going to be calling for the wick off
Yeah,
of this if you're
so
a
I
little bit
think we're
heavy.
here because even if we sit on nose, that's fine too.
Okay, so what I had you here. So you said more?
I'll do a little bit more with like just T-line weight.
Okay.
Because even if it's top 4, they can sweep it to it.
Okay.
All right.
Okay.
Same shot.
Yep.
Little less, but not much. Tolerance is here. That was 297.
Same shot.
Yep.
We just want to freeze it to it. If it's on nose, that's fine too.
Yeah.
But if it's on the inside, that would be great.
Yep.
Like
Yep.
just slightly off nose
Yes.
inside.
All right.
Okay. So just looking for
Same
draw
weight.
weight.
No draw weight.
3,
So a little
5,
less.
3.
Yeah. 3.
Yep.
Line's good. Stuart, T.
Less weight. Yep, gotta go for weight.
Whoa, just for weight.
Yes,
Yep.
come on,
Just
just
for
for
weight. Hard.
It's an important shot here.
Hard to get by. Hard to get by.
Working this really hard to get it past the guard.
Come on, sweep,
But
sweep,
it's
sweep.
diving in, and that's going to overcurl, catch the guard. So Korea still lying shot,
I don't think it made a difference.
Sorry.
trying to figure out
Good job,
how many
Korea.
they can score here. I don't think they'll be able to get to that yellow.
Just my line.
Your line was bang on, so I think
The
we just needed a
forefoot,
bit
so
more.
this will
Yeah,
be a
'cause the
draw
weight
for
would have been
2.
perfect. So maybe a little more ice, but the weight was good. Line was good. You were right on. That's all right.
I get 2.
Yeah, so here we go. We get another look at this.
Hard to get by. Hard to get by.
They are going as hard as possible. That rock just curling so hard. And that has a bit to do with the number of rotations they throw again. But with this, great opportunity for Kim Min-ji. And a little bit of redemption possible. Remember, she missed the draw in the opening end of play. She'd really like to recover here.
뛰어가야 돼.
She's got backing. They've seen so many stones down this path. She needs full forefoot. And somehow, you know, just absolutely wrecks on the outside stone, a stone that shouldn't even have been in play for that shot.
So that is just a 1 then again for Korea, and a 3-1 game after 4 ends.
너무 잡아 올리는 것 같은데 들어올 때 우리 스위치를 못 시켜. 그러니까. 항상 7, 8, 9 맨날 이래. 저 바깥쪽을 안 닦으려고. 근데 항상 바깥쪽 닦긴 해. 안쪽 닦는 경우가 거의 없긴 해.
근데 이것도 우리가 콜을 낮게 부른 것도 낮게 부른 건데.
근데 7이었으면 그냥 가야 되니까.
First stone coming down the ice here in the 4th end. Looking for center guard. Yes, indeed. Man is close and tight to the rings.
Perfectly placed on that first one. And the Australian team sticking with their draw to the wing. For Kirby Gill.
We're in. Five, top 12, five, top 12.
Just for line. Just for line. All the way, girls. Gotta go. Come on, Laurie. Sweep. Sweep, Laurie. It's in the house. All the way.
Yep.
Drag it to the 2 line. Drag it, drag it, drag it, drag it, drag it, drag it.
Good shot. Nice shot, Kirby. Great shot.
So you'd mentioned earlier that inside-out release, that little bit of pop that the Korean teams give their stones at release. You saw it beautifully there. It just takes some of the question out of the ice on those takeouts. They don't overcurl, they run nice and straight, lots of good rotation. And the Australian team's gonna come at this stone from the other direction, and you'll see maybe a hair softer release.
Yes.
Okay, whoa. Yes, yes.
And that can
Hurry.
curl quite a bit.
All the way, guys.
So even though there's more rotation on this throw, it's not as inside out in the movement.
Yeah, again, that softer release, it tends to grab the movement of the ice early in its line. So the rollout provides Koreans an opportunity to tuck one behind that tight center line guard. Yes, that is a great shot. Yang Tae's rock hidden perfectly behind Kim Soon-ji's centerline guard. And now we've got Lynette Gill looking to come around, tap, nuzzle up, move the angles. Now, the outside sweeper there is really making that stone curl a little bit, and it's going to tick the center guard.
Sorry. That's right.
It's okay to move that stone around in front of the rings. It just can't take it fully out of play.
Never mind.
So there we go, the sweeping that outside in. That's just making it curl, and they're trying to get around. So we've got some, we need a little bit of extra knowledge here on the sweeping tactics for Team Australia.
Well, that is something the curling world didn't know for quite a few decades.
Yeah, for a long time, the exact way the brushes affected the movement of the rock. We knew it could hold it straight. We knew it could drag it further in distance. Learning how much we could make it curl.
To be fair, the switch had been used for a while, just not with the right explanation why it worked.
Yeah, not with the scientific clarity that we've got now.
Really heavy.
So really heavy, is the way it called.
And that is...
Yep. Go hard. All the way, Kirby. Gotta go. Gotta go, Kirby. Gotta go, Kirby. All the way.
Looking to move some granite here. Just gets the one. A little unlucky to clip their own yellow as well.
That's okay.
The options are pretty basic here for Korea. They've got a stone in the top of the forefoot, top of the button. They're just going to try and protect it with another guard. This one longer, trying to take a better command of the angles, make the double peel as difficult as possible.
웨이트 괜찮아. 수진이가 와. 수진아 와. 가야 돼. 수진아 와야 돼. 더 가야 돼. 더 가야 돼. 더.
라인 좀 얘기해 줄래? 그러니까 잡아와, 잡아와 이래서 잡아가고 있었는데
난 괜찮다 했어.
그렇게 얘기했으면 안쪽만 잤을 텐데 계속
괜찮다
잡아와
했어.
이래서.
Hit and roll. Hit, double, take it. Okay. Hit and roll first. Yep, just hit. If we get a roll, great. If we get a double, great. That's a hit.
Just on nose.
Yeah. Okay.
Normal.
Peel.
Peel.
Hit to the nose.
It's peel, guys.
Yeah, peel.
Well, that was a pretty significant sweep all the way down the ice. Working hard to hold the line for that shot. They do make the peel.
Okay. Okay, call that. That's cool. Should let it go.
많이 떨어져서.
약하다.
릴리즈 타이트해. 하나. 많이 약해. 일단 라인 먼저 해.
The technical control on the Korean team's deliveries is outstanding. So smooth. You know, it comes down to their kick and weight management, and unfortunately on that one, she was just a little too soft. And as it doesn't cross that large red line, the hog line, that rock does not get to stay in the active field of play.
It's a,
My normal.
peculiar mistake.
Yeah, I think just trying to be too careful. You know, you don't want to be too deep. You're being a little careful and just underthrows it quite a bit. And they get the hit and roll.
Good job.
To the wing.
Sorry, I should have kept them on it.
Yeah, I was just saying that. It moved.
I know.
I was kind of surprised
Didn't
by
move
that.
as much as I thought, because if I thought it was going to pick on that.
Yeah,
I just didn't move as much as I looked.
And a nicely executed hit and stick out here. Looks like we're going to get a fairly simple last couple of stones.
We're just going to hit it. Nose is fine. Hits, roll is
Roll
good
over,
too.
yeah.
Okay.
Not too far, yeah.
All over the place today.
We understand. We can, oops.
Just normal weight. It curls a bit on this side, so it wouldn't hurt to get on it.
Another team might try and utilize the guard up front and generate two with these last two stones from their skip. But the Australian team has kind of set their pace early as being pretty defensive in their tactical application here in the game. And they are sticking with it here with these shot calls.
Stay with it.
Sweet, Lori.
Nice work, Lori.
Sorry.
Yeah, that's good. Sure. We can blink.
Yeah. Roll out time too.
Yep. Good weight. Good weight.
And with the rollout, Korea gets a chance. Try and tuck one behind that guard out front of the rings. Third chance of the game here for Korean skip's last stone to make a good draw.
일곱이면 가야 돼. 라인 좋아. 일곱. 여덟. 라인 넉넉히. 라인 좋아. 라인 세이가. 라인 안 좋아. 라인 많이 가자. 여기까지 오자. 아니 많이 가자. 세이가 라인 좋아. 가야 돼. 조금만 더. 가야 돼.
Great weight, a better line than the last time she threw. It still is available for the Australian skip.
죽어서 그런 거지 오면서.
She's seen a couple of takeouts down this line, this end.
You want to kind of skinny the guard.
Need to get by.
Just control.
Okay. Do you want more for control? Do you want more weight or more ice for control?
That should be good. Just hit. If it rolls out, that's fine too.
Yeah.
So back to the hit or stick or blank.
It's a lot of different options.
Just a hit.
Yep.
We had that in the third end. It looked like they were playing for the blank, but pretty content with it over curling and sticking for one. A little bit harder this time though. Can't see the whole rock, so most importantly needs to pass the guard and make contact.
Stay close. Stay close. Yep.
It's going to hit that center line and curl pretty hard. This weight, this looks like a single point.
Yeah, you're not going to get out.
Doesn't matter.
Not sure what they were hoping for there, but a single point it is. So still keeping this game fairly close, and that is the halfway point. 5 ends played. The teams will have a tiny break, and so will we. It is a 3-2 lead for Korea.
And I wanted to make sure we were there.
Yes.
First end. A chance to score 2 for Kim Min-ji. Already lying 1, just eating the 8-foot, but too much hot sauce on this one as it's going to slide all the way through the rings. Maybe thinking too much about that backing, so just a 1-0. As we jump ahead to the third end, Korea scoring 1 in the second, up by 2. But Tally Jill makes the hit and stick, score 1. And it's a 2-1 game after 3. Last on advantage back in the favor of Korea. Again, lying 1, and it's a draw for 2. Kim Min-ji. This time just a bit wide on the brush. Doesn't curl enough, so again, a missed opportunity for a multiple score. Just a 1. And it's 3-1 after 4. Heading to the Japan-Kazakhstan game. Japan is up 6-3 as Fujisawa has an open hit to put 4 points on the board. Really trying to hold this for the skipper. And great sweep by Suzuki, and it's 4 points on the board indeed. 10-3 lead for Japan at the halfway point, and all games are at halftime. You see China as well, way ahead of Qatar, 14-0. The closest game out there, our featured game, Korea, Australia, just 3-2. Low scoring game so far.
B플랜이 형성이 안 돼.
네.
아까도 라스트가 2점 딸 때도 뭘 그렇게 굳이 짧게 주고 넉넉하게 쭉 하면 되지. 모든 상황이.
많이 잡은 거 말고요. 제가 룸나서 걸린 거.
아, 그것도 미리 네가 혜린이가 체크했어야지. 룸인데 그걸 왜 못 봐?
아, 네.
응.
7일에서 그냥 계속 와야 될 것 같아요.
We're just right on time. Right where we need to be.
Okay.
18, but a bit more, but that's good.
I think it's 19 as well.
It's 19. 19's good.
1920.
Remember to be aware, and I'm not sure that you're not, so it's just more of a question. Once you get to the 6th block, then you can start hitting guards.
Yeah, 5 rock roll.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So we had a 6th rock.
yeah,
we
we-
could have hit one.
Taking a look at the percentages, we see Korea far ahead, out-shooting Australia. And that's sort of what we have been seeing in the game, but they're not really taking advantage of their opportunities. And Australia have been fairly efficient with last stone, picking up a few singles, and that has kept the game fairly tight. Teams are back in action here on the 6th end. That is a 3-2 game for Korea, so they are just a bit ahead and with the last on advantage. It's Australia that needs to.
Yeah, and we saw this statistical comparison that showed it's really all Korea, but the line score is very tight. And that is because of a couple of missed stones with the skips last for Korea. I think you're going to see a little bit more aggressive play here in the 6th end. Korea will be pretty aggressive with this last stone advantage. We might even see double corner guards. It might not be that aggressive, but
I think the scoreline's fairly tight just due to the defensive nature of Australia's game. And Korea with those percentages, just making that many more shots, I would quite like to see them play a bit more aggressively and get a few more stones in play and put some more pressure on Australia. Just haven't quite been able to do so.
Yeah. This is a very nice start for Korea with the corner guard. You can see Kirby Gill, she's been, her play is steady, the mid-70s.
We're probably back on ours. Yeah. Okay. We're deep. Okay.
But deep on both draws here. Do you see that sometimes in the 6th end, the ice makers come out, they put a little pebble around the hack, mop the sheet, might be half a second quicker, hog to hog.
Yeah, and the rock slipped to the back of the rings. The Korean lead had no trouble managing this spot. So Kim Soo-jin, she stepped up her game a little bit today from the opening match.
Well, if you think back, her corner guards have been fairly high. So with that one coming all closer to the rings, maybe it is just a tad quicker.
Yeah, and it puts that, slips just behind the tee line, but perfectly under cover of that corner guard. That's a beautiful setup. If your lead did that every end, you'd be pretty pleased.
Rates up, T. Lines wide. T. Back 8. 8, 9. Yeah, it's back. All right. Might die a little bit. We're gonna lose it. We're gonna be.
Top 8's fine. Top 8's fine. You got lots of room. It needs to help.
Okay.
Whoa, it's good back T.
Yeah, we're back. I was hoping it might slow down a little more. Yeah. It's very. Wow, it's so high.
Very new conditions for this Australian team. This championship ice, how quick it is, how much movement.
Yang Tae will be looking to draw to the back and freeze those yellows, playing at 90%. Really steady play. Pretty much following that throw down here. Just want to sit right on top and sit 2. That is a great shot.
Yeah, and just a very professional call, very experienced call. No need to hit those stones out of the back of the rings. They are your friend, those yellow stones. They're going to hold you in there. And now Australia's looking for possibly a run back or and roll to center guard.
Normal. Whoa, you got normal weight. Are we going
This rock is running really wide.
Okay. Okay, that's okay. Tally. Ooh. That's right. Tally, okay. Maybe we should have come that way. I flick it out. Yeah. Tally, come that way.
So they're just giving a little input, something about her delivery. She flicked it out wide. She'd rather, the Australian player would rather play it inside out. So,
I think we need to come the other way. For you? Yeah, I think so.
so now Korea gonna try and tuck another stone underneath the corner guard. And they're sharp shooting second. A great choice for this tough call.
몇 나왔어?
2번.
에린 스위치 하면서 주고.
그런 거 같아. 좀 많이 넣어서 그런 거 같아.
So the stone comes up short. It is a really good guard, and you know, might have been a time to switch some tactics for Team Australia, but they are going to stick to their game plan. They're going to try and hit this, maybe make a double and roll onto the rings. They're going to hit the outside one first.
Did you want your group? Yes, please.
It does end up, the shooter rolls to a pretty good spot that Australia might be able to get back to. That might cause some trouble for Team Korea.
여기 어때? 여기도 괜찮고. 난 6번 볼게. 좋으면 7. 8은 별로일 것 같아.
쟤 몇 나온 거야?
2번. 6. 일단 6으로 봐.
So the last delicate shot that Kim Hae-yeon threw was the hogged guard in the 5th end. So she's trying to make an adjustment here. And oh, does she make a good adjustment.
Australia in all kinds of trouble now.
And they're looking for a very thin redirect here.
Sure. I do. Same weight.
Actually, wait.
Okay, she's switched turn. She's coming from the inside.
This handle.
Same rock.
I feel like there's a few other
Same rock.
options here. You could play the run back on the yellow. You could maybe try and play the hit and roll off the wide red, or even come down on the back
the rock
red.
in the back and the forefoot.
Yep, sit frozen there.
Yeah. So, yeah, there's quite a few good options. This is a really tough shot.
If it overcurls and makes the double, though, it's okay, but it does overcurl a bit too much. Rattles the yellows a bit. But you can see that red stone wasn't going to move very much as it's sat perfectly frozen.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, the good news for Australia is that one yellow stone out in front of the rings. At some point, if they can get behind it, they might have some way of getting out of this end, but you can feel the pressure and the trouble building here.
Korea will make another play around that center guard just to try and take away the forefoot for Australia.
And the sweepers are on this one right away. And this is hard sweeping for weight.
Definitely can't afford to leave another guard here for the Australians to come around. Needs to be in the house, preferably closer to that forefoot. That's a very good sweep.
That is an outstanding brush. That is an end-to-end, coast-to-coast, really powerful sweep from that front end.
Not sure if I'm too ecstatic with the result, though.
Yeah, the half checked, the overlapping red rocks. If Australia, you can see if it can tuck one right behind there, it is going to be tough to get out. It's all up to Tally Gill.
That was the danger for Korea.
Coming under the center guard.
Could have just drawn the wing, kept it like that. This is definitely an out for Tally Gill. Even if you come down onto the red stone in the back, this one is looking heavy.
Yeah, it's looking really heavy.
That is more than hack weight.
Yeah, that is just a massive overthrow.
So another chance for Korea now to take away the forefoot.
Just track right through there.
They're going to take a bit more ice this time, I think. Make sure they're on the opposite side of the center line. Similar to the shot she had to throw on the second end, where she came up deep and allowed Australia to cut them down. So again, the tolerance here is maybe a tight guard rather than all the way down into the forefoot.
Yeah, anywhere in the top 12, even top 8 foot, it would be okay. That does leave the hit and roll. You want to leave this stone open and accessible to use as a run back. You do not want this stone to over curl and tuck half under.
A little bit more careful, more cautious this time to not bring it too deep.
And she puts it in a beautiful spot.
Yeah, very good there.
Now we've got the hit and roll coming for the Australian skip. And if it's well executed, we'll see the run back using that stone just placed by the Korean team.
So I'll need to know the weight right away from them. So I had you here. Do you like that? Okay. Because you're not going to get by that probably.
But if, she's having rolling there like that. I think this. No, I think maybe play this.
Okay.
Oh, they were talking the draw. Now they've switched.
Going normal?
Okay.
Control. No, I think normals.
Yep.
So there?
I think that's
what about the other side?
The only call, really.
Yeah, it's a wise choice.
Because even if it rolls over to that side of the forefoot, that's fine too.
Okay.
A few options with this one.
I think less.
We're going to hit and roll.
You want to hit and roll and behind.
Yeah, and ideally you'd like to roll as far across the ice as possible and stay under cover. So to the edge of the forefoot on the opposite side of the center line.
And even if you can roll maybe right on top of that redstone in the back of the 8, it's going to make it a lot harder for Korea to remove with the run back. It has that back guard you speak of, Anne.
Yep. She rolled this one a bit.
Make or break for Tally Gill, and Team Australia really needs to make the roll here and sit for shot stone. Makes the double instead. That is a great result for Australia. That was always an option as well.
Super shot.
Had to go for line.
Might be second shot, but that's certainly a good effort. Had to make a roll.
Yeah, and she screamed her own sweep call right out of her hand. She must have been a little tight. It over curls, but catches just enough of the one stone to sit beautifully guarded. The back of the forefoot.
Nice shot. Good weight on.
So it is now, we are going to see that run back.
Kim Min-ji hasn't been too prolific with the brick, the last stone, in these ends so far.
And this is her best opportunity for a big score. The on-off is a good sign.
It's kind of floating out there. Will it make contact with the yellow? No, it's going to go right past. And then the question, is it one red? I believe it is. So far, not a multiple score in this game through 6 ends. Korea, though, still in the lead, but only by 2. And that is a score, 4 shots to 2 after 6 ends of play. Australia still in this one.
I think it's because the guys need to bring our weights down.
뻗는 건 알고 있어야 될 것 같아. 내가 이렇게 차면 안 밀린 느낌이거든. 이러면 나 많이 뻗어서 밀리지도 해줘서 그런 것 같아. 이번 되지? 아비다. 내 마지막 사진이 지금 안 돼가지고 다 아웃인 것 같아.
Back in action here. Korea with a score of 1 in the 6th end. Now playing the 7th. Again, just not capitalizing on their opportunities, especially Kim Min-ji with the last stone has struggled.
Yeah, she really has struggled. She's got a little bit of a flip on the counterclockwise rotation when she's letting go of the stone. It's just riding a little wide. I mean, we saw her come up a little bit heavy. She's missed 3 key shots with the counterclockwise rotation. 1 for the extra point in the 1st end, again for the extra point in the 4th end, and then that run back for a large multiple score in the 6th. All the same turn, all the same kind of outcomes, and she just needs to settle down because Korea has had their chances.
It was a great hit and roll, though, by Tally Gill to force that shot to be made.
It sure was a ton of pressure. She was looking at 5 counters from her opposition in the rings when she made the double and hid under cover. And it was enough to hold the South Korean team to a single point. So they're looking to drag this. They want this to curl. They need a ton of line. Curls a lot at the end. And they split that center line. Do a great shot.
Top 4 is good too, Kirby. Okay. Top 4 is okay. Okay. Yes, it's really light.
Line's good.
2.
Yep.
1. Really hard, guys.
Yep.
1.
Yes, the line.
Really hard.
Line, all the way.
Just over.
All the way. All the way. Keep going. All the way, all the way, all the way.
So we've seen a little bit of trouble with weight management on this side of the ice.
That's right.
There is a bye in every draw. There's 4 sheets of ice out there. The empty sheet of ice is sheet D, which is on the side where we've seen a hogged stone and a couple of shots come up pretty light. And it just might be a bit of a situation where there's 2 different sheets of ice out there. Each half is pretty unique. One's got a full game happening next to it. The other is pretty cold and barren.
Different airflow.
Yeah, different airflow, just temperature, movement of the bodies up and down the ice. Can dramatically affect the the surface of the sheet next to you.
계속 가져. 떨어지고 있어. 좀만 더. 계속 가져.
Certainly played games in curling clubs where, yeah, you might be in the last end. All the other games are finished. They leave the rink, and then the ice is quite different.
Yeah, it can do a lot of different things depending on the facility you're in. Generally, in an arena like this with such great ice conditions, you want to have as many games happening next to yours as possible. And Lynette Gill's going to look to draw one undercover right down on top of a Korean stone in the forefoot. And this is we're seeing this sweeping situation again, Sander.
All the way, Kirby, get it right here. Don't stop. Don't stop, Kirby, sleep. Right, all the way.
Nice
That
start,
was a
Linny.
good sweep, though. Good effort.
She is working so hard. I'd love to see a little bit more efficiency on those brush strokes. If she even just flips around to the other side, she can stay the lead sweeper. And she can sweep from right behind the stone. She's a very powerful sweeper, but she's making her own job pretty hard.
Just switch the angle a bit.
Yeah, just change up the angle a hair.
Actually finds a pretty good spot in the end there. Top 4, fully buried.
She finds a great spot. So here we've got the sweeping. You can see the inside sweeper sweeping into the curl. So holding the line for this one, trying to generate as much distance as possible. Nice location there. So now they're looking to clean things up.
Hit weight up. Just, weight up. Hit weight up, yeah.
Yeah, Australia does have last stone. They're going to have to get to the red shot stone somehow.
Yep. All the way.
Sorry.
All the way, Kirby. Gotta go. Yep.
They're going to take the middle guard there.
Why are we clearing it?
That was the option offered by Tally Gill.
We're not shot.
The tolerance.
Oh, okay. Sorry, it looked like it was.
That shift.
You're holding it. I just turned.
Now it's up to Korea to choose to either come after the yellow or just throw a guard. They are setting a shot. That is the option in the end here.
내가 왜 나왔지?
Yeah, I think the rule of is do no damage here. You're in a pretty good position. Shot stone. Well under cover, well hidden. It's going to take a couple of stones from Australia to get to it.
약간 더 있어?
괜찮아, 라인은 좋아.
라인은 좋아. 그래, 기다려.
최대한 기다려줘. 시작. 몇 시야 이건?
3.
Do we want to clean get rid of the gut?
Going the other way now to get to the Redstone's top 12. Not sure how the angles will play out for them on this one if they do make contact.
Yeah, this is a bit dangerous.
Yes.
Might see the
Yellowstone go.
Yep, red might redirect off the second one, but then we get a redirect off the guard, just hairs it and goes past everything, but doesn't even move the guard off the center line. That's unlucky.
That's her.
faintest of touches.
We need to buy that.
Okay.
Very
You-
close.
you
We
like
should have
that?
been on it the whole way. Yeah.
Okay, that's good.
Yeah, and we've got a team meeting for Korea.
Yeah, exactly.
No, I
So
know.
it's a
근데 이렇게 하면 잘 들어야지.
얼마나 보여?
그러니까 비슷해. 약간.
언저리만 와도 될 것 같아.
하나 더 들어가? 앞에만?
괜찮지 않을까? 여기까지 괜찮지 않을까?
거기는 좀
만약에
위험하지
많이
않을까?
룸이면 그냥 앞에 세우는 게 좋을 것 같아.
일단 앞에. 그냥 라인이 룸이면 앞이나
제일 좋은 건
뒤나
이렇게 붙이는 게 좋은 것 같긴 해.
근데 앞이 나을 것 같아.
일곱. 좀 짧아서 어려울 거야. 일단 여섯.
아 근데 짧긴 하다 머리.
괜찮아.
거의
많이
그냥-
떨어지니까 괜찮아.
여섯?
일단 여섯 볼게, 여섯.
응.
Coming around on the intern side.
Yeah, now looking to just tuck underneath.
더 가야 돼. 진짜 많이 넣어. 더 가야 끝까지 가. 더 가야 돼요. 더 가야 돼.
Bit of a setup shot potentially.
Yes, it is, and that is a good one.
Just wanted to maybe curl a tad more.
많이 올렸나?
많이 룸이야. 그래서 스위치 할 때 너 계속 그냥 가라 해가지고.
Might be
Yes, tough options here for Tally Gill.
Line good.
Lots of room.
Haven't left a slash double here, I think. Should be pretty close.
Yeah, she's close.
1 and 2, there you go. And then
Great shot.
just like that, Australia has shot stone. You know, there wasn't an option to get to the shot stone before Korea played their stone. Left that for the Aussies, and great shot by Whedon.
good sweep. Second, good shot.
Now the question, how to get to that yellow for the Koreans.
Right off. Good shot.
Nice shot, Laurie.
Good shot, Laurie.
It's funny. I actually thought you were hitting the top one up there. So when it went by, I'm like, oh,
Yeah.
we're out. And then went bang, bang.
그냥 맞는데 잡아줘.
좀 더 얇아야 돼.
더 잡아?
아니 잠깐만.
And with that outstanding shot by the Aussies, it's the Koreans' turn to try and get out of trouble here, looking for a double run back.
Well, we talked about her firm out turn, but the in turn as well, just quite.
Yeah, there's a little bit of extra wrist action at release, and it's just, her stones are just popping a hair offline to the outside, and because she's sliding really true. We're going to see it here. She slides right at the broom, and then right at the end, she just puts a little extra pressure outside.
Just never comes back.
Yeah, the stone just doesn't have a chance to get to the main point, but she does change up all the angles.
It's a bit of an angle for them, though.
And you can't throw it like that if you want, but you're having to ice for it.
Have a straight
Yeah,
shot right
and you need to maybe even slide a little narrow, slide
So
not
you shoot what you throw
not
what
miss
you
the
like.
target, but slide
What do you think?
true to tight to the target.
Why don't
and
we
then
come in
set
this
it back
way?
a bit.
And if it sits on ours, that's fine. But if it sits here, that's fine too.
You need two openings. So what are they going to do? They're going to bang this one on, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So what do we do for this?
You want to call
You want a
timeout?
timeout?
Yeah.
So this is a wise opportunity
I
here.
think if we come in this way and
The
sit
single
here, that's fine
timeout.
too, and if it overcurls and sits there, that's fine.
Have their coach come down, help give perspective on their
I
options.
need a tissue.
So you need 2 paths. You have to have, you've got 2 shots here. So this is your first shot. They're going to bang that on
Yeah.
and sit.
Yeah.
So we need to figure out how to.
Their coach
Okay,
is
what are we
Ken
thinking?
McDonald.
Well, so they're gonna push
Yes.
this through, right?
Yeah.
So
Yeah. So we just put one here.
either that or you just throw a guard up
Here?
there.
Yeah. Okay.
Then they might come
Just
in
like
there.
a-
They may take that in. But
Then
look,
they
I
can
think
draw
this
in
is your-
here.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I think maybe like a
greedy trying to get.
Yeah. But they'll draw in here. What
Yeah.
we're trying to do is set
Yeah.
up another shot for you to come in for the
That's
second
right.
shot.
So we could go this way, draw in. That's a harder one.
We're thinking sitting there or like there.
Or here.
Create a bit of an angle. Or
Yeah.
we just thought maybe a guard, put up a
Here's
guard.
I think you want to go higher.
Okay.
You're going to have another shot,
Yeah.
right? So you want to go higher to make them have to do some work.
Yeah.
Okay.
They're going to have to try and bash all they can.
Okay.
The bigger distance, the better.
Better.
If you go in there, it might group them.
Yep.
Yes, and then it's
you
easier
get rid of more
target.
quicker.
Okay. So just
So we go up for high guard.
that kind of
Okay.
a placement though.
What
Like in
ice?
front of that one.
Yeah, even
Okay.
here, like
Even if it's up there, that's fine too.
Make the line.
Lighter tolerance, right?
yes.
Okay. Yeah. Okay.
So
So it
Right
has
in
to
there.
it has to be in front of this rock.
okay.
Okay.
So what line do you like? Out here?
Yeah.
Well, okay. So
Actually, no.
you're throwing
There,
a guard.
middle 12.
You're throwing a guard, right? What were you giving Kirby?
Throwing guards.
Yeah. So maybe about here. We don't want it to overcurl.
Yeah.
About there.
Yeah.
Take a look when you get down there and see what you think.
Okay.
Take your breath
We're
too.
thinking 3.
Didn't mind maybe coming to the inside of the red there,
Yeah.
maybe a little tap, trying
Yeah, just change the angle, take away the power that
get
red
towel?
stone that's on top of you.
Right.
Take it away, and you know there is an opportunity here for Australia. You can see you can
Think maybe like
draw
this.
right down, tap a little
Yep.
bit, change the angle on the red one,
Okay.
and put
No
2
matter
of
what,
your
it has to be
stones
covering that rock.
under that
Okay.
center guard.
So you're probably looking at like
Instead,
a 3.
they've gone with a
15?
guard.
Well, it is the easier way to take away the shot for Korea.
Yeah, it is easier, but what it does is it actually determines exactly what Korea is going to do, right? If you make a good guard here, they come the other way and try and play a down weight tap around and sit 3.
We're through.
Well,
So, and this is heavy.
We're through. Each of those.
yeah, this is
okay.
not going to be a guard.
Sorry, Tal. It's okay. Take a breath.
It's going to be all the way through the house, so that certainly determines what Korea is going to do next.
Yeah.
Bang on, they said Australia, and that's exactly what Korea will do. They'll play this red-yellow combo, and just like that, the end is withered for the Australians. Had a chance there for first multiple score of the game.
Yeah, they really did have a chance.
Maybe a little too much thinking. The timeout sometimes takes the momentum out of the game.
아직 눈이야. 아니름. 준비 준비. 아직 아직.
A little tough on the release this time too. Will it make enough move to get contact? No. That is so surprising.
It's that same little challenge that she's been exhibiting.
It's hard to believe.
Yeah.
You throw that first one, you know how to adjust. Either throw a little softer or tighten up the ice or less weight. Certainly you don't want to do the exact same thing. All right, blows by.
Yeah, massive opportunity missed.
Just a little pop out, and
Yeah.
the ice is very unforgiving.
There's just so much action with her wrist and her hand flying off that handle. The amount of momentum that transfers through to the stone is so significant.
You know, it swings quite a lot for the draws, but when you up the weight, it runs very true and very straight on the side, so you can't really afford to do that. So last stone now for Australia. Out turn draw, needing to adjust the weight here. Tally Gill.
A tick? Yeah.
Can they redirect off the corner? No, they can't. It's going to blow past everything, just a tickle on their own. But it is one for Australia, and again, they are staying within the grasp of a win here. It is just the 1 point separating the teams through 7 ends. Korea leads at 4-3.
Your line was good on that.
Yeah, just my weight.
I'm just wondering if we needed. Well, you know what we could have probably done is swept it to get a piece of that back one.
Yes.
Top 12's good too.
Yes, yes.
Weight's good.
Where is it?
Australia gets us going in the 8th end.
Yep.
Tight score, 4-3. 1 point lead for the Koreans.
Top 8's fine.
I have to say, a little surprised. I thought Korea would be running away with this one, but Australia is keeping in there. Much thanks, though, to Korean skip Kim Min-ji, just especially on the last stone, time and time again, not executing, having maybe a slight technical problem at release, just a little too inside out. Has made quite a few mistakes. Her team has set the ends up pretty well.
Yeah, her team has played very strong in front of her. So now it's just about learning from those minor mishaps that she's had and executing with that last rock, because she's got that last rock advantage here in the 8th end. It is a powerful position to be. The good news for Korea is they're up in the scoreboard and they've got last rock. You can see front end, head-to-head comparison. Sun-ji. Kim is significantly outplaying Kirby Gill.
Same way.
I think most teams would be quite happy to be one up with last stone in the 8th end, but if you feel like you should have been more up in the game, is it easy to get a bit stressed and impatient at the end?
And I mean, this is I mean, the pressure of throwing that last rock, the all importance of it, knowing that you make or break the end for your team, is really something. And this young skip, this very talented young skip from Korea, needs to have a bit of a short memory on those shots.
Now Korea playing actually quite aggressively here, leaving the 2 yells in the house and just ignoring them, coming straight around the corner guard. We haven't seen that from them earlier in the game. I would have quite liked to see that earlier in the game, but now getting closer to the 10th end and the 1 point lead, it'd make more sense to play a little more cautiously.
Yeah, and the interesting thing that's happening here is Australia's putting rocks now in the best position they've had all game.
Exactly.
And so, you know, a bit of a potentially dangerous choice from Korea, but...
yeah, I felt like you said, just they had a lot more opportunities to put pressure on Australia earlier. This time, might have been actually tempted to move those yellows. We'll see if Australia can get a guard in place.
5,
Whoa, needs to curl.
5.
Needs to
Oh,
curl.
they're calling
4,
this
5.
stone as
We can bring it
in the
everyone.
rings.
That's fine too.
Okay. Yeah.
Is it in the house?
Yeah, we're close.
It's
yeah.
in. We're,
Well, I'll just
we're
let it curl
touching.
then.
Okay.
Just let it curl.
Some good angles they
fine too.
end up with here.
Okay.
Yeah, they kind of
Okay.
happen into an angle that'll leave at least one rock in the rings. And yeah, the sharp shooting, Yang Tae having an absolutely dominant performance against Lynette Gill.
몸을 업, 플레이. 몸을 업. 시작. 가야 돼. 계속 와. 계속 가. 라인 안 쳐. 계속 와. 혜리 룰. 아니야.
Gets a couple of hills moving, only kills the one.
And Australia is still sitting 1 and 2, but it was a good throw. The angles were not in her favor when she started that shot. Now they look a little bit better.
What should I do that coming through? I'll try this one. That's right. Oh, this stone.
Yes. Yeah, let's let it go. Let it go. Whoa. Whoa, right up. Just stay with it. Yep. Down. Whoa, just stay with it. Stay with it. Whoa.
It's on ours. That's why we need to know. Nice.
Good shot, Lynn.
Really nice little hit and roll. And Australia now
Weight was
sitting
good.
3.
Yeah, it was good. Yeah.
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 Bringing the game to Korea here.
Yeah, and Korea's going to go for this tough double takeout.
공간 노말도 괜찮긴 한데.
Make a double
많아.
and roll in behind the guard here. Would be
컨트롤.
something special. And the Korean front end will just have to keep tugging away and set the ends up.
Yes.
And hopefully they'll capitalize soon. The inside does get it, double and a tiny roll. A great shot again.
An absolute beauty for Yang Tae.
She is playing really well this morning.
Yeah, she's in the running for the MVP for Team Korea today. And in particular with this double takeout and roll behind cover. What a dramatic change to the look of this end.
Australia is able to see some of that red. Top one is not going anywhere though, but you can get that second red going. Now over curling, catching the guard. Not a horrible option there. It does open it up.
That's right. That clears that up.
Yeah, it doesn't do all that much considering they don't have the last stone. And now all of a sudden they're going to be looking at what I would imagine. Nope. Where she's going to put the guard back.
Did she say? Didn't say. Did she say?
There is a simpler way to handle this. Just hit and roll to the other side of the ice and sit 3 well separated with just a couple shots left.
I don't mind the guard.
No, it's a fine call. Yeah, it's a fine
still
call.
quite early. It's easier to replace the guard usually than to keep making the hit and rolls.
웨이트 좋아.
See if Australia will choose to peel the guard though. That's actually over curls. They might be looking to come after the Reds in the house again.
Yeah, I think they are.
Yeah. Remove one of the Reds and try and roll the shooter in to line 2. Just roll that a bit out of hand. That is not helping too much. Leaves the shooter up as a guard. Doesn't remove any of the Reds.
Yeah, this now might be the time for Korea to change tactics. Yeah, it's time to get rid of the Australian stone.
Try and make that hit and roll away, and preferably in behind the guard. Fairly inside out release here as well. Perhaps a bit too much. This needs to move. Not to kill the Yellowstone. Korea sits 2. You see Kim Hye-rin also outplaying our counterpart and Laurie Whedon by quite some margin.
Come in this way.
Hit and roll. And if they take one, that's fine because we have time on it. Yep. Just there.
Okay. So
I mean, it's behind
we
the
took
kids.
there for
Yeah.
your guard.
I think yeah. Because even if it sits up top, that's fine too.
Okay, well, we'll try and bring it closer. Remember, draw weight. You're good.
Australia electing to go with the
Gotta
freeze,
freeze to it.
here.
Yep. So T weight.
Yep.
So 3.
Tali struggled with her last couple of draws. Really needs to dial into the ice speed. This shot requires perfect weight as well as perfect line to freeze directly to the face of the other stone.
Very tough shot.
Yep. Maybe 8. Bring it up. No. Slide.
Really down to the sweepers as well.
Hard, guys. Hard. As far as you can.
Came close. Just needs to drag it a couple of feet more.
All the way. Just one behind the tee. Sorry.
Just lost it. Might have touched that stone a bit as well.
It's your call, I guess.
Just one of the last brush strokes.
Yeah, it's your call.
Looked like it might have been just burned. Korea's choice to either place that stone where they think it would have ended up without the touch, or just
yeah,
leave
you
it
see
be,
right there.
or remove the stone from play. That's the 3 options they'll have. It's quite clear that the stone was burnt at the very end there. That is after the hog line, so it's Korea's choice.
멈추기 전에?
If that happened before the hog line, it would have been up to Australia to take it out themselves. And Korea will leave it. Good sportsmanship.
Yeah, really extraordinary sportsmanship. They knew that that stone would have stayed in play. She had burned it right as it was coming to a rest.
We have seen more cynical calls in the past.
Sure. I mean, it's a really tough decision. It's one of the unique things about the sport of curling where the onus of application of that rule is on the non-offending team. It's a really difficult set of circumstances. And now Kim Min-ji and her team have made their choice. They've left the Australian stone in play. And she needs this hit and roll.
Well, in this situation, it didn't make too much of a difference.
Yeah, and they were very calm, really very professional in how they handled it. Quickly, they had the official come out, talked about their options, and then made their choice and perfectly executed the hit and roll. Great shot from Kim Min-ji.
That makes it all easier to judge when that happens. The last foot or two of the path. If it happens a bit earlier, it's a lot harder to gauge the outcome.
Do you like that ice?
Yeah, and as you said, we have seen teams that have removed that
All right,
stone,
we're hitting and
which is
rolling.
their right. There's nothing wrong with that if the team makes that choice. But
hit and roll, try and get 2 out.
It's a
Okay.
it is a tough
So we're
rule
going
that we
that
have
one
in our
as well.
sport.
Hitting
That it's up to the
like that
non-offending
ice?
team. It's pretty unique in the world of sports.
The
Actually, why don't we just draw to it?
best thing to do is just try not to burn them.
Do you like that?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, you don't want to. And remember, burning the stone
Same
is
shot.
when
Yeah.
one of the brushers
Yeah.
or any one of the
I'm sorry.
throwing team touches the running stone.
So Korea sits 3.
Good weight.
Another chance for
Line's good.
Tally Gill to make that freeze.
Up. 8.
Yeah, she's overthrown this one. It looks
Yep, that then.
Same.
Whoa, whoa. Yes. We missed this one. Yep.
Very close with the first one.
You're gonna get
Did
that
not have to
one.
add
We're not
too
going
much
to.
weight,
We're
but
not going to, so just
certainly has a bit of running to it.
Yeah.
It's going to
that's
go
Sorry, just
through the
hold it.
port here and run how far? All the way, almost all the way through. Enough for Korea to sit 3, and
Whoa. Yes.
it
We missed
has
this
now
one.
just
Yep.
unraveled
Yes,
for
you're gonna get that
Australia.
one. We're not going to.
They clinged on for
Yeah.
so
We
long,
need to be on it the whole
but
way
you
if we're
felt
gonna
it
do
kind of coming
Yep.
that
Sorry.
Korea would at some point capitalize on the great setup. And now
Yeah.
Kim Min-ji, even if she doesn't make this one, will be scoring a multiple score. Because if you look at the scoreboard, it's been binary code through 7 ends.
It sure has 0s and 1s.
But last stone here in the 8th end to take huge control of the game. Needs to be pretty much anywhere in the paint here. Kim Min-ji made a great first shot, and the second one is looking pretty good as well. Should boost her confidence a bit after a few mistakes. No problems here. That is 4 points on the board for Team Korea. Already with a 1-point lead. They'll be 5 up, 8-3 after 8 ends of play.
이게 확실히 조금 더 이럴 때 확실히 웨이트를 맞춰줘야 될 것 같아. 뒤로.
여기까지 잘 내려간다. 열어나갔으니까.
너가 열불로 불렀으면 너가 아닌 것 같으면 좀 더 말해줘야 될 것 같아.
근데 열불로 아프.
괜찮을 것 같았어?
Finally, for Korea, they managed to put more than a single up on the board. And they'll be very much in control over Australia with an 8-3 lead coming into the 9th end. If you're just joining us, we're at the Olympic venue, Gangneung Curling Center on the east coast of Korea for the Pacific Asia Curling Championships 2018. You're listening to myself, Sander Ulvåg, and I'm joined by Anne Swissell. Do you think that's a bit of a relief for Kim Min-ji, a Korean skip?
Yeah, it has to be. And actually, it came at such a beautiful time after she and her teammates made the very sportsmanlike choice to not pull a burned stone from the Aussie team out of play. She really came up very strong in that moment and was rewarded with a 4-point score.
Great shot. Nice weight. Lovely. Beautiful. Come over here.
And it had to be a relief to the entire team, actually. They've had so many opportunities and such setups to finally capitalize, and capitalize with such a strong number, a score of 4. It has to feel extraordinarily good. Now with that, they are going to have to finish out this game not create any kind of opportunities for the Australians. If their front end continues with their excellent rock position, they should be able to do that without too much trouble. And this we'll be able to tell what's going to go on for Australia here. Double corner guards on a single side. Their choice.
Line's wide. High guard.
So they're just looking to guarantee themselves at least one corner guard or a tough
We need it.
double peel
Yes. Okay. Yes.
if the Koreans decide to go to heavy defense.
All the way. Get it over hard. All the way, Laurie. All the way. All the way. All
A
the
little
way.
bit wider on this throw, but makes it over the hog line.
Sweeping. Sorry.
Just comes off the center line.
Yeah, and it sets in a tough spot. And because it didn't over curl or get over to the other side, Team Korea is going to play defense through offense here.
라인 넉넉해. 많이 넉넉해. 기다려.
올라갈 필요 없어. 앞에만 만져줘. 라인 좋아.
클린만 해줘.
라인
라인
좋아.
좋아.
수진이.
라인 진짜 좋아.
웨이트 좋아.
라인 계속 오면 돼.
웨이트 좀 가자.
라인 아직 넉넉해. 계속 와야 돼. 그냥 와.
아니야.
와야 돼. 그냥 와. 계속 와. 조금만 나오자. 야, 조금만 더. 자.
And another beautifully placed rock for Yang Tae.
Can you see any of this? No. Not really. I think just come here. Okay. Peel. We can't yet. Looks like there's 3. Just T-line. Top 4. Okay.
So a little confusion there in the rules. They've said they can't peel, but they actually can.
Little heavy, I think.
This is that new rule, the 5 rock free guard zone. 5 rocks are in play, so then upon the throwing of the 6th, you can do whatever you want.
Got it, Kirby. Get it past that guard. All the way. Split it. Sweet worry.
And this end is getting messy. There's a lot of rocks in play. Every one of them thrown right there in the field of play. And this is where you might see a little bit of difference in tactical choices between 5 rock rule and the previous rule, which was only 4 rocks. All of a sudden, you can be a little bit more offensive against the hammer because you know it's got so much power. Throw all those guards up there.
Yeah, well, it's hard to keep it clean. So you just end up in a mess really early on, and then you're kind of invested in it.
Yeah, just commit to the fact that it's going to be complicated. There's going to be a lot of rocks in play.
Do you see some teams that attempt the tick on the corner guards? Maybe not even tick them to the boards, but just tick them towards the center line or in the house, so they
Just
can remove
change it
them on
up.
the next shot.
Force a change in the game plan.
I don't think the 5 rock rule is fully thought out yet. So really interesting to see how teams grasp it in the years coming. I'm sure we'll have a playbook by this Olympic cycle.
Yeah, yeah.
Needed to come over.
Yeah, sorry, Michael.
Kim Min-ji is sticking to her playbook, and that's another guard here from her sharpshooting 3rd.
대시면 좀 기다려.
그대로 가야 돼. 넷. 넷까지 가.
수진이 와야 돼. 넷이 와. 수진이 와야.
넷.
살짝 맞아야 돼. 좀만 더.
They were looking for the tick at the last minute. Just a little heavy there. And now all of a sudden there might be a bit of an opportunity for Team Australia. Get rid of a couple of red stones and create a path into that 4-foot scoring area.
Stop. Stop. Lift it out. Lift it out. Lift it out. Lift it out. Lights up. Lights up. Are we hitting ours? Yeah. Are we gonna roll? Stay close, Kirby. Whoa. Whoa. Sorry. That's right. It's okay.
Flicked it out. That is a bit of what we talked about with Korean skip Kim Min-ji as well, just that inside-out motion. And when you do that, the stone's never coming back. You're basically taking the curl out of it.
Yeah, which is, you know, again, something that you might want to do, but you have to prep for it, you have to ice for it, you have to call for it, throw the weight for it, to make that be a weapon instead of a missed shot.
And of course, the inside-out motion is to a certain extent as well. You can't be throwing them to the boards either. Needs to be controlled.
Yeah, now there is a hole there.
We're calling for the clear of the 2 front, but it can get through. Okay.
Seen Whedon rolled in turn a little bit, so rolling being basically the opposite. You get the stone going a bit early.
Line's good. Line's good for the court.
This looks pretty close.
Yep. Hard. Yep. Hard. All the way.
They've got the sweeping challenge again. They're going to wreck.
Yeah, a little softer there on the in turn, and that's getting those going, but opens it up again. But they're running out of stones, Australia, if they want to tidy up this mess.
Yeah, they sure are. They're going to have to get to a couple of those red ones soon.
Korea quite happy to keep guarding here.
Well, they're sitting 1, 2, and 3, and we are at skip stones.
You see the coach's bench, a couple of laptops, camera. Seemingly some type of spreadsheet there, so there's a lot of stats being put into those computers and a lot of analysis to be made from the games.
Yeah, the data collection is so important for helping you determine which game plans work for you, where your strengths are, what are the areas of your game you need to work on. And it also helps you create the difference between where are the tactical errors versus the technical errors, or the actual just plain shot-making errors. That's a pretty good shot up there. So much distance. And there you have it.
Let's have a little sneak peek at the secret notes.
Top 8. Okay.
You know, some coaches out there might not be super happy that our cameras are zooming in on their secret sheets, but each team has their own kind of stat reporting mechanism.
So we're looking for 3.
And there's a few different softwares out there, and I believe some federations have developed their own through companies, basically hired people to make
proprietary
custom-fitted software.
Yeah, for what they want to track and what they feel is important to their teams and their performance and their game building. Most important for Australia, tucking their skip stone in here in count position.
Line is perfect, just
a little heavy.
Sets for second shot.
Good try. Let's do another one.
Sorry, take a little less ice. No, that's, you know what? That's better ice.
Might have a wild one off the winger on her last one.
Yeah.
To score 2. Come off one of those wide yellow stones.
Well, actually, I think she'll probably have to run the one in. There's a guard just out in front of our shot here.
이면 좀 셀라나?
그럴 수도
근데
있어.
죽을 것 같긴 하고 끝에 좀 죽긴 하거든.
Ah, you're talking the right side of the ice. I was looking at the left side of the ice.
Both work.
Yep, they sure do.
Not easy though.
They are not.
See what Korea does here. If they're just going to plug the hole, or if they might be thinking to come all the way down to the yellow. That could be an option as well. That would definitely take away multiple score for sure.
Yeah, the guard here leaves a chance for the Hail Mary, or the long shot.
붙어 있어.
아직 룸이야.
아직 좀 더 있어.
Definitely all deep with this one. How deep though? All too much, I believe. Just gonna slip past that yellow. So
She was thinking to come down in there. I like that. I like the shot selection. Just struggling with that execution again.
not really looking at the stones on the wing here to potentially run in or come off. Very tough to make. But if you want to stay in the game, you need to score multiple score. But maybe Australia just conceding the game here, thinking we'd rather finish with a good draw and a single point on the board.
어, 그니까.
No, that's good.
Okay.
그러니까 룸이라면 셋이 안 들어가. 또 나도 몰랐어.
294, so we need 3.
Even with the score of 1 here.
Yeah, either way. I think I'd go for trying to get 2 and maybe make a miracle happen in the 10th end.
Just wait.
Needs to just pull the strings a wee bit from the first throw here.
Can we get it
Tally
back?
Jill.
Stay with it.
Back house, I still think.
Whoa!
Waiting for this one to settle down.
And it's about to lose its handle.
Looking close. The sweepers left it for a bit too long. I think they have. But that is close. Hard to tell. Is it red? It is one red. That was a good throw by Tally Gill. Sweepers just left it a bit too long, so it's a steal of 1 for Korea. As they increase their lead, it is now 9-3. One more end to go.
Okay. Sorry. That was. It looked. They've just just calling all the way. Calling all the way.
라인 수진이 불렀는데 너가 계속 붙어 있으니까 얘가
나는 수진이를 못 들었어. 그냥 근데 라인 좋다고 처음.
So the Team Australia has had a think here. Whole team meeting after that 9th end, thinking, okay, we're down by 6, only 1 end to go. Might as well shake hands here and leave it at that. So the final score is 9-3 in favor of Korea. Had some struggles. Kept Australia in the game for long, but broke it open with a score of 4 in the 8th end. And by signing the umpire's papers, it is official. And first win for Korea. Australia yet to pick up a W.
Did you want the rocks back? Did you need the rocks back?
fifth end. Last one for Team Australia. Tally Gill looking to make the hit and stick for one.
Roll, 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 you're not gonna get out.
A single point for Australia, still in the game. As we move on to the seventh.
I think it needs it.
Chance for Australia to put 2 points on the board here. Could be the first multiple score of the game, but slips all the way through. Another single. Korea still up by 1 as they have the last stone in the 8th end. We would get our first multiple score. Finally, Korea able to capitalize on their chances and draw into the house for a score of 4 to break the game wide open. And with another steal in the 9th end, a final score and a win for Korea, 9-3. And these are the other scores in the Gangneung Curling Center this morning. Japan played Kazakhstan. It was a 13-3 game and win for Japan. For China, they beat Qatar 25-0. And of course, our future game, a 9-3 game for Korea, which means we'll have China and Japan at the top with 2 wins, 0 losses. Hong Kong 1-0. Korea sitting at 1-1. Kazakhstan, Australia and Qatar yet to pick up a win here in Gangneung.
Congratulations on this big win today.
오늘 대승을 축하드립니다. 감사합니다. 네, 이번에 경기했던 게 어제는 그래도 좀 괜찮은데 오늘 너무 실수가 많았어서 좀 아쉬웠던 경기였던 것 같아요.
In fact, we found yesterday we did games as we planned, but today we made some mistakes. So for us, it's games with a bit of a regret.
A bit of a regret, but you made an outstanding decision, very sportsmanlike in the 8th end, and then scored 4 points. Tell us about that.
그 굉장히 스포츠맨십의 그 정신에 맞는 그런 결정을 해주셨는데 나중에 그 8엔드 끝나고 그거에 대해서 좀 설명을 한번 해주시죠.
She left a stone in play that was burned.
저기 남겨두신 그 저기 스톤.
그 마지막에 했는데요. 안 하고 끝난 거 말하는 거죠. 그 상대팀에서 이제 끝내자고 악수를 하셔가지고 네 그때 끝냈던 것 같아요. 네 상대팀에서 악수하자 하셔가지고 네 그때 끝냈던 것 같습니다.
In fact, the other asked for the shake, so we're fine with that.
Okay. And what will you do in your next game?
다음 경기에 대한 그 계획을 좀 말씀해 주시면.
일단은 저희가 실수가 좀 너무 많았어서 다음 경기할 때는 실수 없는 그런 저희 원래 그 경기력을 보여드리고 싶습니다.
We want to show our own the best performance without making mistakes for the next matches.
How exciting is it to play in the Olympic venue?
저기 올림픽 경기장, 그러니까 올림픽이 열렸던 경기장에서 시합하는 소감이 어떠세요?
일단은 올림픽이 열렸던 데에서 해가지고 더 의미 있고 그리고 일단 관중들도 있고 그래서 약간 그런 그때 느낌이 좀 나는 것 같아요.
It means a lot to us to play in an Olympic venue, and with support from the audiences, it feels like it gives an Olympic feeling.
Great job. Congratulations. Good luck in your next game.
Thank you.
And that concludes and wraps up this morning's session in the Pacific Asia Curling Championships 2018. Stay tuned here in Gangneung.